Hello students, in this tutorial we'll be studying the concept of transcription of DNA into RNA in both eukaryotes and prokaryotes. So, what happens during transcription? First and foremost, what is transcription? So, as we have talked about in the introductory tutorials, that transcription is the process where DNA information gets copied into the RNA. So this is to be remembered. Genetic information is copied from the DNA into the RNA molecule. Another point to remember here is that only one segment of the DNA can be used as the template to make a RNA. We know that the DNA has two strands, but of the two strands, only one strand is a template for RNA. Unlike in replication, where both the DNA strands serve as templates. Another difference between replication and transcription is replication, the helix unwinds or unzips and it forms a replication fork. Whereas in transcription, you see small bubbles opening up, and only that part of the DNA gets transcribed into RNA. Keep in mind that in RNA, adenine pairs with uracil because there is no thymine in RNA. Instead of thymine, we have uracil. So you can see this green RNA molecule here, and wherever there should have been a thymine, there is no thymine, but instead it is replaced by uracil. And the enzyme which is important for transcription is RNA polymerase, whereas for replication it was DNA polymerase. So, transcription, we need to understand first what is a transcription unit. So, here we can see a transcription unit. A transcription unit has three regions: the promoter region, the terminator region, and the structural gene which is in between. Or we say that the structural gene is flanked by the promoter at one end and the terminator at the other end. Promoter region is the region where the transcription will start. Terminator is the region where the transcription will end. As we have already said before, it is not both the DNA strands which will serve as template. The strand that serves as template is called as the template strand. It is also known as the antisense strand, whereas the other strand is called as the coding strand or the sense strand. And it is important to note that this coding strand is very similar to the newly synthesized RNA. The sequence of bases is very similar to the newly synthesized RNA. The only difference being that in case of thymine, there is uracil in the RNA. Otherwise, if you see the sequence on this strand and on the newly synthesized DNA strand, it is exactly the same. The polarity of the template strand is the 3 prime 5 prime, and the polarity of the coding strand is 5 prime 3 prime. So these are some important points to note. Now in this slide here we see some more important points with regards to transcription. RNA polymerase catalyzes always in the 5 prime to 3 prime direction. And if you note, this direction is the same as that of DNA polymerase in replication. As we said, promoter is where the transcription will start. If we are asked to give the location of the promoter, we say it is at the 5 prime side of the structural gene or the 5 prime end. And please remember that this position is given with reference to the coding strand. So when we say it is at the 5 prime end, it is with respect to the coding strand. Similarly, the terminator is said to be at the 3 prime end of the structural gene. So this reference is given with respect to this coding strand. Now this structural gene is in between the promoter and the terminator. It could either be monocistronic or polycistronic. So here you can see monocistronic structural gene found in eukaryotic cells, polycistronic structural genes found in prokaryotic cells. What is a cistron? Cistron basically is an alternate term for a gene. So if the structural gene has one cistron, okay, it is called monocistronic. If it has more than one cistrons, it is called polycistronic. So here you can see the difference between monocistronic and a polycistronic structural gene. So we said that if it has one cistron capable of coding for one polypeptide, we call it as a monocistronic gene, which is often the case for eukaryotes. And it is polycistronic if this structural gene here, this is your structural gene full, but you can see it is divided into three cistrons in this case, each coding for a polypeptide. So it is polycistronic in prokaryotes. In eukaryotes, the monocistronic gene is having interrupted coding sequences, and this is called as the split gene arrangement in eukaryotes. So you can see here, these are your coding sequences which contain information marked in blue, exons. They are called as exons. So whatever is in blue is a coding sequence, and whatever is in orange is a non-coding sequence which is interrupting or intervening, and they are called as introns. So this is your split gene arrangement seen in eukaryotes. Of course, these introns are not required, okay, which need to be removed, and the process of removing is called as splicing, which we will see later. So here important to note that exons are coding sequences. They are very much required in the fully functional RNA, whereas introns are the non-coding sequences which are not required in the fully processed and functional RNA. Transcription is a little different in a prokaryotic cell and in a eukaryotic cell. So let us see the process and the differences. So bacteria we all know is a prokaryotic cell. So in bacteria, there is a single DNA dependent RNA polymerase enzyme which catalyzes the transcription of all the types of RNAs. So in this case, mRNA, tRNA, and rRNA. So let us see, this is one difference, okay? Let us see the three steps which are involved in transcription and how this polymerase works. So transcription, whether it is eukaryotic or prokaryotic, it has three important steps: initiation, elongation, and termination. So in the initiation step, as you can see what's going on here, the RNA polymerase, which is shown here in uh, cream, okay, it binds to the promoter region, which is shown in yellow. So the first step is the binding of the RNA polymerase to the promoter region of the transcription unit. Now, if you notice here, the RNA polymerase cannot start initiation on its own at the promoter region. It requires a partner, and this partner or accessory is a factor called as the sigma factor, shown here in green. So along with the sigma factor, the polymerase enzyme will start the first step, which is initiation at the promoter region. The second step is elongation, shown here, and as you can see, it does not require any help. It is capable of doing elongation on its own. So it will it will start initiation and elongate the RNA strand, newly synthesized RNA strand that is forming, all on its own by adding the RNA nucleotides. Okay. Then when this polymerase comes to this region, which we call as the terminator region, it has to stop its RNA synthesis, and that we call as termination. Now, for termination again, polymerase cannot do it on its own. It requires a factor called as Rho factor. So for initiation, it requires sigma factor. For termination, it requires Rho factor. So when the polymerase reaches the terminator along with the Rho factor, it will terminate transcription, and the newly formed RNA called as the nascent RNA, it will fall off. Nascent refers to newborn, so it falls off. So these are the three steps in transcription. Now, a very important point to note is this difference between bacteria and eukaryotes, or in prokaryotes and eukaryotes. In prokaryotes, mRNA does not require further processing. Once elongation is done and termination is done, you get your fully functional RNA. No further steps needed. This is one difference. Whereas in eukaryotes, after termination, you have further processing steps, which we will look at. The second difference is in case of prokaryotes, because there's no clear difference between the nucleus or the nuclear material and the cytoplasm, translation and transcription can often be taking place simultaneously, or we say coupled. It does not need that transcription ends for translation to start. They can go on side by side. So these are two important differences in case of transcription in prokaryotes and eukaryotes. Now coming to eukaryotes. So in eukaryotes, I have said that the same three steps apply: initiation, elongation, and termination, but there are further steps for processing. So we'll look at those steps. Now, also important to note that in case of eukaryotes, there are different types of polymerases to catalyze the different types of RNA. So in your book, you have these different type of polymerase enzymes listed, and you have to know which RNAs they catalyze. So RNA polymerase 1 will catalyze the transcription of rRNA of these types. RNA polymerase 2 will catalyze the transcription of hnRNA, full form is heterogeneous nuclear RNA. RNA polymerase 3 will catalyze transcription of tRNA, rRNA, tRNA, 5S rRNA, and snRNA. So the first three steps, I hope you've understood: initiation, elongation, and termination. So after termination, you get this nascent RNA, which we said was functional for prokaryotes. But for eukaryotes, please remember this nascent RNA is not fully functional. It requires further steps of processing. So what are the further steps of processing? The first step is splicing. So it needs to undergo splicing. Splicing, which we have seen in the earlier slides, is the removal of the intervening non-coding sequences called as introns, marked here in orange. They have to be removed, and the exons will be connected together. So this is splicing. Besides splicing, it also needs to undergo capping, which is the adding of the methyl guanosine triphosphate cap at the 5' end of the primary transcript, or the hnRNA. These two words are one and the same thing: hnRNA or primary transcript. And the third thing that needs to happen is the adding of the poly A tail, or the polyadenylate tail, which is made up of 200 to 300 adenylate residues. The adding of the tail is at the 3' end of the transcript. So these three important things go on: splicing, capping, and tailing. And only then this mRNA gets fully processed, and it is called as a fully processed or fully functional hnRNA, which gets transported out of the nucleus for the next process of protein synthesis or translation. Okay, so with this, we come to an end of the concept of transcription. Any doubts or difficulties, please send it through WhatsApp. Thank you.